Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the LFC Toronto show. My name's Azaz. I've got Dan back after a sun-kissed trip to Mexico. How are you doing, Dan?
Very, very sunny.
Yeah,
very, very good.
Well, you brought some of it finally back, and
Yeah.
first time on the show for Cameron. So excited to have you, mate.
Yeah, what up,
Thank
Cam?
you so much. Yeah, I don't have as much of a tan as Dan, but you can tell I've been living the high life in Toronto.
Mate, with you at the
Sure.
moment, it's all about the stash, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I think we all have that.
Yeah, but that one right there is special.
No,
to be
that
honest
one's
with
proper.
you. Like
Yeah,
that one's a proper one. So
That's like an Anfield
quick-
proper.
quick shout to the LFC community. Everyone knows how we all love our kits, and Jake loves his kits as well. So Jake's actually been on the pod already, and then he deserted us because Cameron told us about a couple of new purchases he made, including the one he's got on right now.
Lovely
We
kit.
joked
Or-
about the fact that Jake's gone on his browser to buy some stuff from this place, and Jake disappeared. So we put two and two together. I think we've solved the case. Jake has just gone to buy some new gear. Are we going with that, lads?
Yeah,
I
100%.
think so. Absolutely.
Well,
He's definitely doing
another welcome to the show, Cameron. And I think you've seen the show a few times, so we're excited to just turn it over to you for a few minutes. You know the drill. We want to hear how you became a Liverpool fan, early memories of being a Liverpool fan, and then how you found the club. And just a few other things like if you've got a favorite cult player, like favorite person who's not like Steven Gerrard or John Barnes, as Sultan said last week.
and he just touched the sign, by the way.
Yeah. And of course, he just touched the sign as well. So take it away. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, appreciate that. It's good job for you gentlemen for continuing to grow the community. I want to say that first off. Football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, only is so special because of people like you who continue the conversations long after the 90 minutes are up. And this is what makes it so much fun. I think people like ourselves live and breathe it. And more and more we talk to the community, you see you're not the only one. So I can always convince my wife, look, I'm not the only one who watches a game every other day. Other people do it and their marriages work. So it's always a nice angle to play. I'm not
Asterisk
the only
there.
one. My story is, I'd love to say, I found Liverpool out of pure passion and, their ability to win. I was born into a Liverpool family. So my mom's from Chilwell, but a 15-minute drive from Anfield, but she's not a Liverpool supporter. She's just from Liverpool, and she is very happy she moved to Canada. So obviously my cousins are big supporters, and I really pull my love and affinity for Liverpool from my dad, actually. So my dad is from Barrow-in-Furness, just in the edge of the Lake District. And it kind of, if you look at a map, it's almost like it's pointing directly at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, just out of his reach. We try and follow Barrow as they, fight their way through the middle leagues of England. But he grew up in, the age of, Emlyn Hughes. And he always spoke about how amazing Liverpool was. I'm 32 now, so I grew up watching Liverpool just not quite win the league for a long time, and I grew up just being happy with our cups that we did win. Of course, Champions League Istanbul. I got the aesthetic. I watched them every weekend, but it's now I think a beautiful full circle that we're kind of right where we used to be as one of the most dominant forces in football, and I can't just say, oh, we've got history, now we've got to live in a current era. So just being raised in that environment was a lot of fun. And, I've hopefully been able to take some of that passion and love for what was local football from my parents who immigrated here and try and give it back to, Toronto FC to an extent. Right. And I found that community early on after coming back from university and discovering people who would sing in the stands and, jump up and down and not just sit there and quietly watch American, soccer. You got a bit of that European feel to it. So from a young boy, I supported Liverpool, and I had my Liverpool supporters card I got in the mail, my little, banner I hung up in my room. but I was disconnected from it. Right. I never got to feel like I was a part of it. But recently I was able to discover this community in OLSC through a friend of mine, Alvin Ramchern. He saw me sitting on a patio at a pub watching the game, and he's like, I didn't know you were a Liverpool fan. And I was like, have you not seen the giant tattoo on the back of my leg that is the Liverpool crest? And so he's like, yeah, mate, you got to get into a bunch of group chats. And he eventually invited me to this group. And so it's been awesome to, even, despite COVID regulations, we've been able to do a few amazing things. And, just going to the Christmas party was amazing. That was such a beautiful experience to see people that I barely knew, a few of them. Some of them I had better relationships with, but it was kind of like we'd known each other all along. And to be able to sing songs with one another. And I get to learn songs. I've been supporting this club my entire life, but if you're sitting in your living room, you're not singing them like you would in the stands. So it was my little slice of Liverpool brought into the Madison House. And for that exact moment, I felt like I could have been in Merseyside. So for that moment,
that's beautiful, man.
Single tear in my eye, I was like, wow, this is what it must have been like to be there. So that's probably what brought me in and made me such a believer, not only in Liverpool, but also this club.
Amazing.
It's beautiful, man. I love the way you put that.
Love
absolutely.
And look who's back. How's that credit card, Jake? What did you buy?
I tried to buy. Cam showed me some kits, and I was like,
"Oh my god!
I have to rush. I have to look." So I placed my orders. Let's see what happens.
So for the audience out there, just so you know, this guy Jake, he's our prez. Obviously, he's a rather astute, well dressed, easy. Machine.
He's a gym rat at the gym at 5 a.m.
He's a gym rat, exactly. That's what we're trying to get to. But he has virtually every kit and every article or garment of clothing since maybe 2005.
Zazu has way more.
He does. So between the two of them, they've just been competing on that level. So he's just, once he found this new partner now.
That's not a competition.
I'm just
not a competition.
I know. There's no
competition.
I'm just stirring it up. You know what it is. Sorry, Zaz. Back to you.
As you do. And Cam, talking about the songs, right? Just as a reference point. These over the last couple of years as well, the LFC Toronto community, they've made their own songs. Right. Well, there's a Nabby one with Shag My Wife one. It's on a different level. But anyways, these young guys, they just basically have made their own song. So your songbook that is officially from Liverpool, it's gonna tweak a little bit for the LFC Toronto community, which is gonna be, it's on a different level. But we'll get that out to you when we're back.
That's that global community, right? It's that ownership that we get to instill a little bit of our own DNA into the mythos that is LFC. And that's not, no one's ever going to criticize of that. If anything, they're like, I love that. I want to hear that song and I want to share you with mine. And that's what this community is all about, is growing the narrative and making it a positive one at every opportunity you have.
You know what I love about this as well is it goes full circle because one of the members, and when honestly, this is content, this is not supposed to be a sales push, but I'm going to just say one thing about being a member at the OLSC is you can apply for tickets. I still don't think people understand how ridiculous that is. Anfield is so hard to get into. It's never been harder to get into. And just right now, we've got 5 or 6 OLSC major members of our community.
12.
They're going to the derby.
12 are
going to the derby,
12.
and they're sitting on the cup, I believe, right? Or they're standing on the cup. Sorry, not sitting, standing on the cup.
All my tickets over Christmas were on the cup as well. Sorry, Dan, go on.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, Cam, I had a very similar story. I won't share it now, but I really appreciate that point you just brought up, which is you didn't know of the community, but when you came and you watched or you sat down or you were included in the WhatsApp group, which is a shit show sometimes. But it honestly, and the holiday party is the same thing. It's the camaraderie and it's the shared love and that weaving of Liverpool, the football club and the city and everything about it. And you feel like you're part of the family. And honestly, that's since I've been coming here for years, decades almost. It feels like it really hits home, and thank you for sharing that, because I think it's really important. It's really important if you're watching this and you're not part of the club. just find us somewhere. It's, just come and hang out, and be part of the family. So sorry, Azaz, I got a little bit sentimental.
And it's
there.
just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
just
sure.
the beginning.
Sure.
Just to let you know, it's just the beginning.
It's an important point.
So Cam, the three of us have actually said this a few times. Dan actually was the first one to say it live on the show in episode 1. But I have to ask you, mate, are we winning this quadruple or what? What's the deal?
This is a question I think we're all asking. Every podcast, any newscast you read or listen to, it's going to say, what's your bet on the quadruple? I'm going to answer it, very politically and say, at least we get to, at this point in the season, say, hey, we could win a quadruple this year. And think about this time last year. We were not having these conversations. We were kind of licking our wounds about, losing Van Dijk for as long as we did. And, that string of games that just didn't go our way. And it was still a good season, but, we would never have had this conversation. It would have been like, you're crazy to even think about it. I like being crazy. Why not say, yes, we can get a quadruple? At this point in the stage, if I'm able to say yes, and no one goes, you're smoking crack, then I'm going to say it. I'm going to be a big believer on that.
I love it, mate. Say it with your chest. You just raised a good point. Last year, we were going for the 4 we were going for last year was the 4th place. And the 4 we're going for this year are the 4 trophies. And also, just want to put on record as well, that by the time we play our second game in the Champions League semi-final, we will have been the closest ever in terms of being alive in a season, ever in the history of football, to closest to actually winning the quadruple. The current record is 06-07 Chelsea, and their run ended on May the 1st. So even if we are knocked out on May the 3rd by Villarreal, this is the greatest season in the history of football for length of being a contender for all 4 trophies. So no matter what happens, we are blessed, right?
Boom.
Absolutely.
Speaking of blessed, I'm going to turn to Jake for this next one, because we want to talk about that glorious FA Cup game. Feels like these things are coming so thick and fast. That FA Cup game seems like it was like weeks ago. It was actually days ago, 5 days ago only. Give me your thoughts on that, mate. From one perspective, talk to me about the first half. We watched it together. We were both at the Maddie. Talk to me about the first half, City's comeback, and how you saw that whole thing unfold in front of your eyes.
First, I want to say happy birthday to Dan here. It was Dan's birthday. Dan's big 4-0, so happy birthday.
Big 4-0. You got to out me right there. You got to out me right there. Come on.
Mr. Treasurer. From the game perspective, we're talking about contracts. Where everyone's focusing on the Mo contract. Mane is a beast. Mane has been a beast lately, and it's unreal. One of the things that was very interesting, and especially watching and reading some of the news articles afterwards, was just how the City players and fans react to not having this person or injured this or this injured that, and just using excuses for complaint. Oh, if we did this and if we had this, and literally, give me a break. In the end, we had a great complete change of dynamic from this is what I expected them to play in the last game. Right? Up tempo on them, no space. They're technically gifted. The quality of that squad. And getting again those guys to just rev that squad up and push the limits of that first half was unbelievable. This was the well machine. We did a fantastic job throughout, right? And so and our merits were there. Sadio was, and the thing was I was talking to, I don't know who I was talking to at the Maddies, and Sadio's poaching goal with Ederson is one thing, right? But and then the second one, and from a Klopp perspective as a manager, which one would have he enjoyed the most out of those two, right? Because those ones that Sadio
probably number 2.
the one, but the one where it's he hustled and he pushed the keeper to make that.
Oh, I meant that one. No, I meant that one. Like goal number 2. Yeah.
So from that perspective, there's always close. And for him to do that in a world class number 2 Brazilian, because we have the number 1 Brazilian, for that to happen,
that was Zach Steffen. That was
Steffen.
Oh, yeah, Steffen. Sorry.
Yeah.
Steffen. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so it's for that to happen is that unreal, and it kind of made me feel a bit sad for them. Like it made me feel a bit of curious from that moment for like a millisecond.
Oh man, no, I don't feel sad at all.
Millisecond, just from a professional perspective, that he's
Oh,
gonna
fair
have to
enough
deal with it.
for him as a
He's
person.
gonna have to deal with it, that we beat them, and this is what it was, and it was his fault, blah blah blah. But anyways, perfect. I loved it. I think sometimes we get a bit complacent, and we just do shut off a little bit. And I think we had a little bit of that, with some of our, but we got the result, and that is all we care for. It's again Kepa. It's going to be Kepa in the final, Kepa in the final, and that is another.
I don't know, Mendy.
Well, yeah, it's going to be Mendy. There's no way they're going to.
Mendy, probably. There's no way they're going to.
So Cam, I'm gonna come back to you with another hard one, which is: does this last Saturday now make us regret how we approached the Premier League game? Because arguably, the first half of the FA Cup game is the reason we won the FA Cup game, and the first half of the Premier League game is the reason we can say we may not have won the Premier League game. So does that make you regret that game at all?
If we're going to take regret into consideration for a game in the past, why not regret the result of the first match against them in the league? Right? Like, we had all the reason to maybe win that game and not, draw it. So I just loved that league game versus City. It had everything. If you weren't sweating, kind of nauseous and jubilant afterwards, you don't understand football. Like, it literally hit me everywhere in the feels all through that game. And I was emotionally exhausted, but thrilled. Like, that's the level of sport we're seeing right now between these two clubs. Right. And I pity, Stefan for making that mistake, but that's the risk that Pep took, putting him in net in this big game against a club that he should fear. That I don't feel bad at all for that. That's the margin of error we're dealing with. Grealish can say if we had 5 more minutes, we would have won the game. All right, buddy, you didn't. So for us to go back and look at that game, I'm not upset at all. That's how close this league is. It is a margin of 1 point, a margin of goal difference. And we're seeing two very different clubs. Whether this Liverpool team has moments where they lull and slow down, they're playing heavy metal football. I'm exhausted watching them for just 10 minutes. Yeah. So I'm not upset by it. I just think we've hit our stride at such a good point in the season that they are hungry. They've got to win. City have not to lose, right? That's two very different mentalities that I think puts us in a position that will drive us to do what we've done in the past, which is win every single game. So it's on City to do the same. So that's all we can hope for.
Great answer.
Well said.
And the one thing I feel that's like not been stated enough as well is what Cam just said, is that Premier League game. I think we were all exhausted. Like, I don't think I've ever been tired after a football match before. Like, it was a surreal feeling. So we'll know at the end of the season if that point was enough, because it can be enough, but still exhausting. Yeah, totally. I'm going to head over to Dan, because Dan's got some reveling to do right now, because I feel like we know Dan's got obviously 2 big favorites. He loves all the players like we all do, but he's got 2 above all else. One is the man behind him, and the other one is Sadio, who's a favorite of many people, but Dan especially. Just bask in this glory, mate. Just bask in this run that Sadio's having.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna bask in it in a second, but I just want to just dovetail on the last point. The last time I actually felt like that, like queasiness, right? Like in the stomach, and you're like, this is taking so effing long to actually finish. Like, this match is like just like you're drawing on. You're really, really tired mentally as well. Was actually, remember the last time we played? Sorry, the City match in the 13-14 season was exactly like that match, which was cried. Like. We remember when they equalized and then Coutinho's goal, and it was like, man, and that was like that last 15 minutes was like took forever, right? And then Stevie and the whole thing. But so I just wanted to add to that point. But Sadio, I mean, I know as we've gone back and forth on this one. You've been quite vocal. I'm going to point it back to you.
100%.
Rightfully so, though. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and just be an apologist and say, no, I think Sadio had a dip in form, but I don't know. I always maintain that old axiom, which is like, what is it? Form is temporary, but class is permanent. And he is that. He is that. I read something, or I saw a tweet or an IG or whatever, where it puts him into the Ballon d'Or conversation. Think about it for a second, okay? AFCON, qualifying for the World Cup, legit on a path to potentially a quadruple. I mean, given and look, I know Mo's his record and everything else, but if you look at the entire season, he's been quite consistent. Sadio, he's missed some games and he's come back now and he's really killing it. So I don't know. I just think back to where he was in terms of what the fans' reputation for him was last season. He wasn't scoring along with Mo. There was a big drought. Now, I mean, it's just next level. And his assist the other night, man, I don't know. I had to leave the room, go take 5 minutes to myself and, do what I needed to do. But that was just something, man. I don't know, if that was Luka Modric, right? Or if that was freaking Pirlo or that was anybody else, plot it across the TV or through social media, but that was something else. And anyway, man, I think people have got to put more respect on that man's name, and Naby as well. I don't want to get into Naby because we always talk about Naby, but he's definitely a viable option too. And in the coming weeks with finals coming up, I mean, he should be seeing some pitch time for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have to definitely say that, for me, with Sadio on the left and his form at times this season and last season as well, I didn't necessarily see this happening because there's not too many players who refined the level that Sadio was at and is at again. I think there's a massive part of this is Diaz, because I feel like the left,
100%.
the left, yeah, exactly. Putting Sadio as number 9 is the thing that has re-energized him. And I don't really know if Klopp meant it, because I feel like it's sometimes the happy coincidences are the best, and regardless of how it happened or what happened, the output is the most important thing, right? And he's just on fire at the moment. And that goal, the third, I know we were talking about the second goal with the keeper mistake and the hustle, but that third goal on last Saturday is a pure work of art. It's a all-time great FA Cup goal if you watch the whole thing. Sadio's finish almost like a I don't even know what you say, strike through the ball and
slice
this
the
whole
ball,
body positioning and stuff, but just all the build up to it as well. It was incredible. I
gotta dive in there and just say, how good Mane has been, and a lot of plaudits to Diogo Jota for joining the team and hitting the ground running, but Luis Diaz, just his ability to have this same sort of cerebral thought and meshing with the Liverpool ethos so quickly, it either shows you how good we scout and how good we pick our players, but he fits the program so well. But what he's brought to us is this ability at the edge of the 18, even maybe just inside the 18, to take that extra beat for 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds if he's given time enough to settle, look left, right, and just maybe play it back to Robertson or turn and beat a guy or pull himself into the middle, which he does like dancing, and keep possession and keep the ball ticking. So often did we see this beautiful front three of Mane, Firmino, and Salah just get broken down, just kind of get hunkered because they hit a wall. And you can say Thiago has been able to open up a lot for us, but Diaz has this knack for holding it longer than we used to. The play would break down. Now it doesn't. Now he just finds he wriggles through and keeps that progression, which has opened up opportunities like we saw in this goal that led to a bit of tiki-taka, nice chip, and a sublime volley. It all, for me, began with Diaz right on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm really surprised about with the Diaz, just really quick, is how Mo and Sadio and even Bobby are just used to tracking back and defensively being at it and literally putting the same amount of effort going forward as back, right? Mo would come back to cover Trent, Robbo right way, right? Diaz is doing the same thing. He's actually pressing and like on guys like a bad odor, and it's like, man, it's a beautiful to see. Sorry, Zaz, you're gonna say. I love that. I love that.
I was gonna move on to Jake because one of the things we were trying to proactively do last week is the time management piece, because we just get so excited and get taken. So Jake, I'm gonna roll on to Tuesday, and it's so funny. I was just talking to a couple of Man United fans, and I was saying the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, right? And like, it's so interesting because like, do we even care anymore? Like at this moment in time, they are the old enemy, 100%. But like, and it's great. We won like 5-0, 4-0, 9-0 over the season and stuff. But like, they're so bad that like, does it even matter? Like, what you think?
So bad, man.
So like I wrote because Sam wasn't here. I wrote the blog post on the LFC Toronto. So, and going through the stats, right, and then just playing the game out. I know, joking aside, but they had 2 shots against us. 1 was on net. That's 1, right? And so, innately before you'd be like, okay, you got Pogba, he's starting midfielder for France, and like you've got Penandes, like Mr. Penalty, and then they're still quality players, but. Like I know it was an injured calf, but I almost felt like after the first Diaz moment, he's like, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm going to feign some injury. I'm out. I'm going to pretend I'm out. I'm out this.
Where's the eject button?
And there's such a broken squad, right? We already know their gaps, right? And it's kind of funny because like, if they even had like they had those 2 there, but if they had like a Fred and McTominay that day, it would have been even worse. Right, from that standpoint. And so the whole thing about the rivalries, it's there. Looking at Sir Alex's face in the audience, he's like, he was revved, and then all of a sudden they pan to Kenny, and there's laughter. And so every single moment of happiness from a Liverpool fan, we got on that game. Everything. Like the okay. Also, I want to say that the 7th minute, us singing for Cristiano's son, like
100%.
Sorry about that sadness for that, and for us to go through that as a community, as a football community, as a fan base, to do that on that moment was great. Even though the Manchester United fans slagged us from the Hillsborough and all those kind of bin stuff, whatever else, which is horrible, but that's them, and we are not them. And
we are not them.
Regardless, from that moment as a fan, like the amount of Colombian friends that I have that I play footy with, they're like, we could not be more happier that our guy is shining on your squad like this. Like it just galvanized the whole community. Like they love it now. Even the fair weather Colombians, in terms of they support other teams, they're watching us now innately because their guy is playing all the time. And such a beautiful experience. And of course, you got the midfield general. Like you could just feel that every single moment was clicking. It was just fantastic. Loved it. All my Manchester United friends were crying. And you had Keno and Neville, and they're literally like, they can't say anything bad. And
we broke their will though. Like we really broke their will, and I think that's the one thing that stood out for me was just that sort of like, there's one thing, derbies and everything, form goes out the window, but you still play tough. You still put in tackles and whatever else, but. They weren't even doing that, and their best players were literally trying to get off the pitch. So it's like, terrible, man.
I do give credit for a sideshow. I give credit for a sideshow Bob that came on in the end, like the last 10 minutes. That kid, whoever that kid was,
Cannibal.
He came. Yeah,
who, Mufasa? Was that Mufasa?
For a 20-year-old, at least he had heart because he put some tackles in. He made himself
ruffle some feathers
on that match. The other ones, the Fridge, Maguire, whatever else, like nothing.
Fridge.
Nothing.
I feel like what's so funny is apparently that's not even his game. That was just his pride and his, like coming through the Man United system. He just wasn't having it. Apparently he's like a flair player and he like passes and moves and he's like silky and stuff. And like, he just got stuck right in. I almost give him credit, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like to have that.
I would have done it. I would have done it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Cam, you already touched on the attack, which we want to elaborate on as well. But like, first, talk to us about Thiago. Like, what a performance. Is that the best midfield performance since Xabi Alonso in that role? I don't want to, like, obviously Stevie's different, but like, what the hell was that?
It's interesting. He's I wouldn't want to call him an enigma because I just didn't know what he was bringing early on. I was like, I know there's talent there. I know how good he is. But the early games for Liverpool, he was late into every tackle. He was kind of, catching people. And you had that fear. Is he not going to keep up to the Premier League? Did we get shipped something that wasn't kind of promised? And, over the games, you kind of saw him improve. And I have a friend who said, he is the reason we win games right now. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not convinced. And then, you see the stats, and every time he played, we won. I'm like, okay, I can't beat data.
Can't argue
data. And then you start seeing these games and you're watching him play much closer. You're like, oh, he's really, really, really good. I'm just not that smart. It's this beautiful way of playing it's that simple, methodic nature. And then the ability to pull out the audacious, to one time these passes across the pitch and ping them with pace and accuracy that is hugely taken advantage of by Robertson and Trent. That's the amazing part, is he has this ability to spray the ball around and then also dink it through players and find, like, he gives it eyes, like he's in that movie Wanted, spinning the bullet. Like, it's crazy what he can do with the ball on the small and the large. Like, that's what impresses me. So, and we saw that ability from Xavi to get that grit, win the ball, and play, these, you could sit there and watch the pass for about 45 minutes and then it lands and then someone plays it in. So I think we are seeing that second coming of sublime midfield play, and not more methodical Henderson, back, forth, grind, back, forth. It's another element to Liverpool's game that has been unlocking teams, right? I think that's what we lacked. We lacked that ability to beat that low block. And now people can't hide because he will find a hole. And that's the most brilliant thing I can say.
And his song as well, like when you play the Thiago and Cantara song, the last line is he takes the fucking piss. He literally took the piss on Tuesday. Like, he rolled his shorts up as well at one point as well. He's got like he's got the low socks on as well. Like, Grealish, pull your socks up, man. Like, you ain't on that level. Like, it's clear, like, you are not on that level. Yeah,
it's comfort. He's pure comfort.
Yeah,
he's just a definition of a baller, right? I mean, you know who I really equate him to is Steph Curry, right? So if you watch Steph Curry, you watch him in a game, and he's obviously a great shooter and all that. But the best part of watching Steph Curry is actually the warm up. So if you watch Thiago in the warm-up, have you seen some of his warm-ups? Honestly, I'd rather get there early just for that. And yeah, the match is good and all, but man, like, the way in which he keeps up, oh man, like, next level. So yeah, just true baller.
He's doing the warm-up, like, I think he did the warm-up, I don't know if it was Diaz, but the one where he was looking this direction, he passed the ball back that direction, and it was just like, and it went to, 10 yards back, and you're like,
straight baller.
What the hell? So I'm going to stay with Cam as well. You touched on the attack before. So in the Man United game, they all scored. They all got an assist as well. Is that our starting attack now? Like, are we able to say that, like, the second top scorer in our team, Diego Jota, starts on the bench? Like, what is this embarrassment of riches? Like, do you think that, like, do we start every game that's, like, not every game, because obviously Diogo and Bobby need some minutes, but, like, Champions League final, FA Cup final, is this the team that starts the attack?
I think this is the full bore, like, what do you as a defensive team do against, those three, with pace, with movement? You're kind of at X's and O's trying to figure out what to do against them. But if you can get that level of body presence and just traffic in front of them, there may be an issue. But that's what I think Klopp has as spoiledness now, is he goes, it's just not working. Let's just tinker it a little bit. How Mane ends up as number 9. You tinker, someone's out, you slide him in, and suddenly it works. I'm sure there's a lot more thought process from Klopp there, but it shouldn't just be, this is always our front three. We should have managers who are paid millions of dollars every year to come up with solutions to stump teams. And Atletico Madrid are a great example of that, trying to stump City. It was that one little fraction of a goal from De Bruyne that got them through. But now Klopp can pull different options out. you could set it for 1-3 and we can put another one at you. So I don't think there is the perfect front three. I think there's the perfect front three for the opponent. Who are we facing? What are they going to prevent at us? But I will say this, to respect out of Jota, if you want someone to score a header, it's either him or Kanate.
Kanate. Ibu, man. Ibu, yeah.
So Dan, just rounding up the games that have been, obviously we played last night as well, but we were in yellow at the Empty Head, kicking every ball, some of us, supporting Brighton, and they've got some good players on their team, but obviously they had some people missing as well. Anything to add on that? Like, any thoughts, or were we expecting that anyway?
Yeah, no, I thought City played generally tentative, actually, especially at home. I thought they came out, and yeah, they're going to boss the game, but I was really surprised that Brighton hung with them at least till half. The first two goals, obviously bobblers and bounces everywhere. So they've been a bit they've been a tad lucky, and there was one social media clip where it actually had like on loop some of the decisions that they've had this season, right? Where obviously the handball, Rodri handball, or other sort of decisions where it was like a matter of a call or a fluke here or there. But I thought, at the end of the day, it was somewhat of an expected outcome. And Basuma wasn't playing; he was suspended with yellows. Mope, I don't think, got a run off the bench, who could inflict some damage. So I was just a little bit sad not to see a little bit more of an exciting game. But at the end of the day, 3-0, you come to expect it. We still have a healthy goal difference, and I don't know. Just looking down the road, where are we going to pick up that, or where are they going to lose those points? I think that's what every Liverpool fan's looking at right now. It's like, is it Stevie end of the last match of the season? Is it West Ham? But then they're playing in potentially the semifinal final, right? So they're going to be distracted with that, and so all these factors, permutations, combinations, whatever you want to call it, are there. But think about it: 6 matches left for them, I think, right? Yeah, I think it's 6 matches or 5 matches left anyway. But I don't know. I just have a feeling, man. I think there's something that's gonna happen. And I don't know. We'll see what we're gonna do, but I just have a feeling, an inkling. And I had that feeling on week 1 of this podcast of a quadruple. So listen, let's just keep it going, man.
Let's just keep it going. So I'm gonna stick with Dan. We'll ignore Man City v Watford because it's at the Etihad.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Although Hodgson though. A Hodgson coach team, you never know.
Just let it go for now.
No, yeah.
Let's look ahead to the derby, and we have 12 of our Toronto people there as well. So does Klopp play a derby team? One of his Origi, Shaqiri kind of situations, or do we go full strength? What you thinking, mate?
I think he plays full strength, but are durable players. So the ones that are just honestly, I'd hope we don't play Thiago. For some reason, I just have that same because he could pick up an injury and that could cost us down the right. Or Naby even. Honestly, I'd play a meat and potatoes sort of a midfield, if you know what I'm saying, with the Millie and Endo. Why not? They have Everton are absolute shite. So you know what? Let's keep our front three. Sadio, Mo, those guys are beasts, man. Strength is in abundance. So and Diaz as well. Surprisingly, he looks so lanky, but he's super strong too. So honestly, keep a meat and potatoes midfield there, and obviously our stalwarts at the back. Although Matip, I would say maybe switch to Ibu because we need some strength. Just boss them around. We're at home. Let's get real here. They're not anyway. I don't want to jinx anything. I'm just going to
No. But Ibu, the thing with Ibu is he's more like his Champions League partner for Van Dijk.
He is. I know. So there's that.
So they can rotate that way as well.
Right.
Jake, we're not nervous about this, right? Everton cannot possibly,
No, but I mean, you have to think of the fact as every team that plays us, especially these guys. Well, I thought the Manx would have given us a bit of a run from that.
I thought so too.
Because of a bit of honor, but they've lost that. So again, we've got these blue neighbors of ours that would have the same premise. They're in our complete shadow, and they must be crying and dying at the fact that they're so close to relegation, 4 points out, essentially, and that their next run of games is horrible. And I think we will inflict some pain on them this weekend. And I'm not sure, even when we're talking about the center backs, even a slight thing, even there's a Jomez in there around too, maybe a throw in, whatever else. But I do like the fact that you get the meat and potatoes action, a little steal, because, you know, I think also because I want a bit of vengeance, right? I want a bit of vengeance for T-Rex. I want T-Rex arms vengeance for the VVD, and like all those injuries that happened. I want to inflict pain. And even with the United game, I wanted to run the score up as much as we could. Essentially, I mean, 9-2 is pretty much a good run, but I want to like blow these people out of the water because of the time they beat us, and like, you know, it was garbage. But
did that even happen?
I guess that happened. I want us to just drive a nail into their and be part of that coffin to send them down completely. Like I'm totally finished with them. They're you know, I'm done with them.
Jake, I'm gonna clip that piece and send it to Crave, because they can promote Batman for how much you said vengeance just then, because it's like yeah, literally so right. Like we have that derby on our minds still, and it's like if we are part of the if that vengeance is the thing that drives this forward on Sunday, and we help send them down, because Burnley play first on Sunday, so Burnley can be above them by the time we play them. And I know Everton have got a game in hand. Yeah, Burnley are home to Wolves, and you know what? They've got 4 points from 6, and they played like Leicester and Southampton. Again, Leicester are in decent form, and Southampton are, yeah, sure, they get a hammering here and there, but like they're a decent team as well, and they got 4 points from that. So like Burnley have got that bit of momentum, and Everton's fixture list is disgusting. So yeah, I'm over them too, Jake. Preach. And then Cam. So what I'd written in the notes before this was, we asked the universe for Benfica Villarreal, and the football god said to us, take Benfica and Villarreal. So without disrespecting them, because none of us is going to disrespect them, we've been in 2017-18, we were the surprise package, believe it or not. So these things happen and teams go to the final. But what are you thinking about that? Like, is Anfield first? Like, do we play super strong and blow them away? Or like, is this going to 180 minutes? Is it going to be a good evening? Is it going to be a bad evening? Like, how's it going to go?
I like that.
I love that you put it that way. You know, you ask the soccer gods, you know, one or the other. You can have both.
Yeah.
But I think that's a test. I think, you know, you got Benfica, you did the trick, but now you wanted Villarreal. They're not an unknown quantity, but them coming in, I think, would be a more difficult test for us. You know, we are better at, you know, bringing the game's occasion for, like, but I think, you know, a couple of years ago, we'd play to the other team. You know, it's a silly saying, but, you know, if it was a slow pace, the game would go slow. If it was hunker down. But if it was high octane and high scoring, you know, we could shoot it out and come out on top. So this is going to be a real test of, you know, how much of that strategy, how much of that play as an 11 has improved, that we're going to have to dictate this tie. We're really going to have to make sure that first match at Anfield puts them in a position of uncomfort for, you know, the return leg. Leaving it to that 0-0, that 1-0 without an away goal terrifies me. Yeah. You know, we've been hurt before. So I think this is going to be a very difficult match. The Yellow Submarine, I think, have done very well in, you know, Europa. They've earned that respect of me, for sure. I'm not sure about everyone else out there, but I'm not willing to write them off by any means. I think they're going to put a test at us. And for some weird reason, we've just let in some very confusing goals when we've been up 2 or 3-0. And we just, you know, I don't know if Danny said that, we just turn off. And this is a club that I think it will certainly punish us if we get into that mindset, which I think just ties back to your last sort of question is, you know, who we play against Everton should be the, not second string, but the guys who have that grit and that anger to say, I want to be in the starting 11. You know, the Harvey Elliott's, the Tsimikas, you know, these guys who are fighting as hard as they can to be in one of the best 11s in the world. Let them just dismantle Everton. But then when it comes to Villarreal, we have a team that's fresh, ready to go, and not physically drawn out like City were after the Atletico game. I think there's going to be a lot of chess matching here.
Great answer.
That's good.
And I think the dynamic as well of it being at Anfield the first time, because Inter and Benfica, we went away right? And we got like 2-goal victories in both of those. So by the time the Anfield game came, yeah, I mean, we lost against Inter, we drew against Benfica, but like we never really felt the threat. And this time it's in reverse. We got to like put our best foot forward as well. And like, yeah, like Villarreal are not going to be easy. They're going to camp out in front of their box, men behind the ball. They had 2 shots on goal in 180 minutes against Bayern Munich, and they scored 2 goals and they're through. So like they are dangerous. They are dangerous.
With all respect to Bayern Munich, and there's a lot of respect there, I mean, we're just a different animal. At the end of the day, we have the best attack in the world, 100%. And I don't think you can tell anybody right now in the world, like, you would rather swap our 5 strikers or even our supply lines with, like, you know, like some of the folks you mentioned on this thing. But I think you're right, Cam, what you were saying with like, you know, the way in which we manage the squad between those matches, right? Because I think you're right. When City played us in the semifinal, that sort of managing that Pep had to do, and those knocks, like we went through Atletico as well, and we lost to them unfortunately a couple of years ago. But we felt those matches. I felt right, like they were really physical. Even though they're a Spanish team, they're not a traditional Spanish team. They're really like the Burnley of Spain, if you will.
Yeah,
and like they really put it to us, and that sort of takes a mental toll as well. And I think those changes, and you saw what happened when they brought in you know, KDB and you know, the regular squad, Mahrez and stuff. They were just like flowing against Brighton over the weekend. But like I don't know, I kind of agree with you guys. Like go with the sort of meat and potatoes midfield for Everton. But I think, I don't know about you guys. Do you guys feel that, like, do you even feel a sense of angst for Everton? Like for me, I feel like we're gonna score against them. The biggest threat from them is actually getting injured against them. Like that's probably the biggest thing that I feel. Yeah. It's not even about like the match. We feel like that's almost like a knock on wood, a foregone conclusion. But it feels like picking up a stupid knock. And obviously, Jake was talking about that VVD and stuff. But and even Thiago, right? He was gone for a while last time. But Villarreal, with all due respect to Bayern, like we're just going to be on them in that constant pressure, similar to what we were against Atletico when they did the exact same thing. Except we have like 5 now of the best strikers, and all of them are in form basically, aside from Bobby, and hopefully he's back. I just can't see us or I can't see them holding us at Anfield. You know, I just can't. Anyway, sorry, just a rant there, but
love it.
I'm so
wrap the boys in bubble wrap. Wrap the boys in bubble wrap.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Exactly. Like seriously.
Exactly. So Jake, take
us
home with
Newcastle's gonna be tricky. I'll say that.
Yeah. Where we can watch these matches, the next 2 matches. Take us home with that.
So the next couple matches are going
Everton
to
and Villarreal.
All of our pubs on Sunday. So it's going to be a very packed house in all the 3 places. So Elephant Castle, Madison, of course, and Sly Fox. So please, it's not ticketed, but please do your due diligence and get some reservations so they just know how to staff properly. And just make sure you arrive on time to get the seat that you want with your friends and family, and you're there from that perspective. And as well from the Villarreal perspective, it's the same thing. Just make sure you arrive. You know, and the thing is that as we are progressing, which we all know in this quadruple, each game, right? Everyone's coming out of the woodwork and they want to be a part of this. It was fun the last one with Benfica because at the Elephant Castle there was a few Benfica fans there as well, which is, you know, they're looking who we're playing. They're coming out at our events as well, which is great. We're okay with that. Just understand you're going to get some, you know, banter back from us regardless. but innately, you know, our audience is growing and growing and growing. So if you do want to be a part of the watch parties and the watch functions, please, I implore you to go and get a reservation to make sure and arrive early on match day to get a seat that you want in front of the televisions. So, one thing I want to say as well is just from the Villarreal perspective, we've played against a few of those folks as well. The Celsos, you know, Good Evening is our guy anyways, right? There's a few ex-Prem players on that piece, and the coach has been like, coach. And also, I think that Atletico kind of play like a version of us in La Liga. They're kind of close to us to a certain degree. So they've been playing them for years as well. So they already kind of have this to a lower degree, right? a kind of like position where they can feel us from that perspective. But nevertheless, I digress. It's going to be a great
Moreno's out, by the way.
It's going to be a great few weeks for us all. Like, please come support us. And also, I just want to say this last thing for me is that we have some really good things coming in the summertime. Just saying.
What?
So watch our socials.
What do you mean, man?
I can't say anything.
Tell us, man.
Watch our socials. Watch our socials. Who knows? Maybe people could come. There could be events.
What? People?
Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, I will stop there. But just watch us on socials. And,
Jake, I gotta say, Jake, with this hint at people, people, whatever, whoever they may be,
it could be communities. It could be, we now LFC Toronto has this global reach, so we have access to things we've never had before.
But I was just gonna say is I know the last episode you asked Sultan who his cult hero is, and I didn't actually say who mine was. I was gonna hint at the mustache today being a cult hero that is still kind of around, but I would say Mustache Allison. April 2021, he was very brief. Picture. He burned bright. We had the terrible result versus Real and then a couple draws, and he was like, nope, gone, never again. So I that's a funny one, I'd say. But no, my true kind of cult hero will be John Honorisa. And that just memory of how many times did I download that free kick on LimeWire or something, like it was just him, that run up and everything. It's if you can compare it to a free kick like Roberto Carlos's famous kick, it was just he had everything about it. Cool name, hard grit, something about him always resonated with me. So that's my cult hero. So if you can get him, Jake, that'd be great.
All right, I'll put that on the list. I've met him before a couple of times.
Just call him up. You have him on speed dial, man.
No, I'm just saying that the last time I saw him was in New York, and essentially,
there you go.
He's like you're 6+ right, Cam? You're 6'1"? 6'1"?
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, so he's like our height basically, but he's a tank. And when I met him, he looked like he could still be playing today. Anyways, I'll take that in consideration. We'll see.
Amazing. Great show, guys, and we kept it under an hour, which is amazing. Our timekeeping is getting better. Cam, this was a pleasure. You have to come back.
Yes,
and where are you watching the game this weekend, mate?
I'm hosting actually my best friend's bachelor party. So I'm going to be bouncing around, and we have our
bounce on by.
Yeah, we have our AGM for the Red Patch Boys, who I'm a part of as well for TFC on Sunday afternoon. So I'll do everything I can to be there in person. But knowing my commitments this weekend, I might be watching from my phone or just, somewhere where they're serving beverages at minimum. But hopefully I can make an appearance. I do love to see you all.
With people. Yeah.
With people, yeah. Have a great start to the weekend. See you all on Sunday. And yeah, you'll never walk alone. Peace.
Up the Reds. Let's go.